Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webcast, United Dairy Farmers, how a nationally ranked loyalty program drives customers from pump to store. Hosted by Convenience Store News and sponsored by Paytronix. I'm Melissa Kress, Executive Editor of Convenience Store News, and I'll be your host today. We'll get started in a few minutes, but first I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. The materials in this webcast have been reviewed by our editorial staff. However, the views of the speakers and organizations are their own and not necessarily reflect those of Convenience Store News or our publisher, Ensemble IQ. One of our goals is to make this session as interactive as possible. You can use the Q&A function on the left side of your screen below the presenter's headshots to ask questions throughout the webinar. I'll hold these questions until the end and then ask them on your behalf. Your identity will remain confidential to the audience. If we don't have time to answer all the questions, we'll follow up with you after the session concludes via email. You can also use the section if you have any technical questions about the webinar itself, and you will get a direct reply from our webinar producer. At the end of the event, we'll have a webcast evaluation survey. We encourage you to provide feedback using this feature. If you wish to review this webcast or share it with your colleagues, a replay will be available within 2 hours from many platforms. So now let's get to the presentation. United Dairy Farmers, how a nationally ranked loyalty program drives customers from pump to store, sponsored by Paytronix. So recently ranked on Newsweek's Best Loyalty Programs 2023, United Dairy Farmers knows loyalty is the backbone of brand affinity. Centered around fuel discounts, UDF's loyalty approach uses exclusive app features, one-to-one campaigns, and proprietary products and support that make guests feel personally valued. Loyalty has also enabled UDF to tap into what makes their brand unique by spreading awareness of their ice cream and in-house bakery products. Their mobile app, UDrive Plus, grows customer lifetime value by giving members a reason to keep coming back. In today's webinar, you'll learn lessons from UDF's loyalty success, what today's consumers want from a convenience store loyalty program, and the one loyalty program. Our panelists today are Denise Jenkins, Vice President of Marketing, Loyalty, and Insights at United Dairy Farmers, and Donnie Fairbanks, Senior Strategist at Paytronix. Our moderator is Ryan DeLillo, a content specialist for Paytronix. In his role, he provides insights on industry trends and best practices in guest engagement. So please welcome Ryan to kick off today's presentation.
Melissa, thanks so much for your intro. I'm really happy to be joining you all this afternoon. As Melissa mentioned, today's webinar is how a nationally ranked loyalty program drives customers from pump to store. And I'll begin with a quick look at today's agenda. I'm going to start off the presentation by talking a little bit about why we're discussing loyalty programs in convenience stores in the first place. And then I'll bring in Denise Jenkins of UDF to discuss her success with the UDF loyalty program, how it's driving customers from pump to store through a sort of three-pillar approach that is personal, exclusive, and unique rewards and experiences. We'll conclude the UDF presentation with a discussion on how they relaunched their UDrive app into the UDrive Plus app. We'll talk through some of the operational challenges that they overcame there, as well as some of the strategies that they put in place to optimize the program. And then we'll conclude by looking at taking in some questions from the audience. I'm also very happy today to be joined by Donnie Fairbanks, who will be bolstering the campaign discussion as we go through some loyalty program success stories. But first, as I mentioned, why loyalty in convenience? Well, NACS tells us that 3/4 of convenience store shoppers feel valued by convenience retailers where they are a loyalty member. And creating that connection is really important. As we see from Bond, the loyalty members tend to spend 27% more when the brand establishes a positive emotional connection through loyalty. And you can see at the bottom here, our own strategists at Paytronix see about a 38% average increase in annual spend by loyalty members at convenience stores. Similarly, they see nearly a 10% increase in the average fuel visits by loyalty members. And overall, they see, on average, one more additional visit per day in the most loyal guest segment for convenience stores. So sort of setting the groundwork here, I'm really excited to have Denise Jenkins, the VP of Marketing at United Dairy Farmers here. Denise, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you to C-Store News for also having me today. So first, a little bit about our company before we launch into some of the details of our loyalty program. I'm Denise Jenkins. I'm the VP of Marketing for United Dairy Farmers. I've been with the company for about 5 years, and prior to that, I was with 7-Eleven, Inc. For 8 or 9 years. And I knew that one of the challenges coming from a much larger company to a company of only 170 stores was going to be scale. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. We have 170 store locations concentrated in Ohio, a few in Indiana, and about 14 in northern Kentucky. We also happen to be operating in other verticals, different businesses that are integrated and adjacent to the C-Store business. So that includes a fuel transportation business, a cold storage and warehousing business. We have our own bakery that we operate out of Blue Ash, Ohio, and we also do transportation for a lot of other companies as well. And lastly, but not leastly, we also make our own ice cream. So we have an ice cream manufacturing plant right here in Norwood, Ohio, which is where I'm speaking to you all from today. And it's still on the same site that we made ice cream from back in 1939 when we started operating. Technically speaking, the stores opened before the ice cream did. But before all of that, there was the cows. The Linder family has owned the business since day one, and they were originally in the dairy farming business. And at some point along the way, came up with the idea to better serve customers who wanted to buy fresh milk and dairy products. So they opened a cash and carry store here in Norwood where people could get milk for better prices than if they bought it the traditional way through the milk van, bringing it to their homes. So that's how the C-Store company was born. And very quickly after that, we started making ice cream. And we definitely feel like that's a strategic advantage for us and a point of differentiation. And you'll see that that's very heavily leveraged in what we do in our marketing strategies and in our loyalty program as well. So let's talk loyalty. The name of our loyalty and rewards program is called UDrive Plus. And this is essentially, it started as UDrive, I would say 11 years ago. It was a successful program certainly before I got here, and we've evolved it considerably in the last couple of years. So we'll share some of that with you guys today. I'll also, I think through our storytelling today, we can also describe kind of how we've built the loyalty program around a certain philosophy and a set of 3 tenets. And Donnie and I will walk you through those. In addition to that, sharing some campaign success stories that have kind of grown out of that philosophy. And then at the end, a little case study about the evolution that we've done and a relaunch of the brand that we did last year and the successes that we've seen from that. The program was born out of really wanting to be a fuel rewards program, but it's evolved over time and has now developed many different benefits to the program. So I'm going to kind of walk you through what the core structure looks like today. So the first thing that you'll notice is that there are certain benefits and attributes that are available to what we call all members. So that would be anybody that's a UDrive member that has an account with us and has used it actively. We call that our member base. We also have a subset of people who are registered and have given us a lot more personal information. We call those our registered members. And over time, what we would like to do is have everybody be a fully registered member in the program. And so we've been over time making a lot of the member benefits only available if you are registered. We start the program off with an everyday cents off reward on gasoline prices at the gas pumps. So typically, if you're a member, you're going to be able to save at least 3 cents off per gallon every day on gasoline. So you never have to pay retail again. Additionally, you can buy products in the store that you can earn discounts on fuel with purchase, and those are stackable discounts. So on one item, you might earn a 3-cent discount, and another item, you might earn a 5-cent discount, and those can be combined, and you can save 8 cents when you go for your next time to fill up. We also have some continuity rewards. An example of that would be a seasonal offer that we have in the spring called 4 for $40, where if you buy 4 cones from us, ice cream cones in our ice cream parlors, you can get a reward at the pump for that frequency of purchase of the ice cream cones. Additionally, we also have something called UDrive Plus pricing. So this is actually what you would see in most grocery stores today, where at the shelf there's 2 different prices listed. One is the everyday retail price, and then adjacent to that is a price that's only available to our UDrive members. We also have a market-based basket savings program, and this allows you to spend across the store on most anything. And when you've hit a spend level of $25, then it entitles you to 5% off per gallon. And if you register with us, you get a registration reward, a birthday reward. As long as you give us your birthday, we'll send you a free sundae as our treat on your birthday. And I think one of our most popular benefits is our weekly app freebies. So with this feature, if you're a registered member, you have the opportunity to get something free from us every single Wednesday. And it tends to be some kind of a snack or drink. Another very popular feature that I think is very unique is our low price lock. You can automatically roll back the lowest fuel price of the day, and we'll send you a notification to let you know that gas prices are going up so that you can take advantage of that lowest price of the day before they go up. And then, of course, targeted offers. We're going to talk about that a lot today.
That's excellent, Denise. I'm wondering if you can sort of spell out a bit more on this slide how exactly these features for both all members and registered members drive your customers from the pump to the store.
Okay. So in some cases, it drives them in terms of frequency of visit. So, for instance, with the continuity rewards programs, it gets them to buy a certain type of product or category from us more frequently because we're incentivizing them to do so. And then it drives them to the pump because they now have accumulated savings in their account that they don't want to leave on the table. Also, very often, if we can get them to come for gasoline, we can get them to come for something else. An example would be if they're, or the reverse example would be if we can get them to come in for that Wednesday freebie, they'll also buy other things in the store and or also purchase gasoline. So the interaction between products and gasoline is definitely evident and valuable to us. And we did some consumer research a couple of years ago that really allowed us to understand that a lot of our customers wanted to earn savings different ways and have the opportunity to also take advantage of savings in ways other than just saving on gasoline credits. So that's why we did introduce a lot of other things such as the UDrive Plus pricing, so that they're saving on a transaction when they buy merchandise, not just on gasoline savings.
That's excellent. Yeah, and I think that sort of intimate relation between the rewards in store and at the pump really come to light through the program core structure. Now, moving forward, we're going to go into a few of the UDF campaigns. And this is where I'm going to bring in Donnie Fairbanks to discuss some of the more in-the-weeds metrics and campaign design. But first, with each of these pillars, I'm going to ask Denise to walk us through what each of these tenets are from a campaign perspective. So we're going to start with the personal tenet of the UDF loyalty program.
Okay, so yes, as I mentioned, there's 3 tenets that we really have built our philosophy around, and those are that we really care about making our program customer focused and making a program that overall provides a great guest experience. So with that, we are leaning in on 3 tenets of personal, exclusive, and unique, and we feel like in combination, those also give us a great differentiation and strategic advantage against our competition, which is growing and getting more fierce every day. So the first one is very close to my heart. You know, I came from 7-Eleven, where 7-Eleven was more advanced in terms of loyalty program development than we certainly were at United Dairy Farmers at that time, and they were really starting to get into the ability to serve one-to-one marketing campaigns and really leverage people's behavioral data to be able to do that and customize things. So I was really excited about being able to bring that to UDF's program. And here on the slide, you'll see that, you know, personal can mean anything from just simply addressing a customer by name in a communication. You see, you know, here on our app where, you know, it's Scott's birthday. So we're sending Scott a free sundae as a treat and as a reward, and we're able to say, happy birthday, Scott. You know, so that's just a nice personalized touch. It also is awesome that we can actually reach out to individuals and ask their opinion on things. So we've really taken advantage of that, and because we do make ice cream products, we're constantly in product development mode, and very often we'll send them surveys and ask them to give us input and feedback on flavors or maybe flavor names, or help us narrow down some ideas to the very best ones. And we'll give them a reward for helping us with that research. We also give them rewards for taking surveys to just give us feedback about their guest experience when they're in the store. And that's really helped us do a better job and provide that better guest experience. And then Donnie's going to tell you a little bit about how we're using a personalized approach in some of our campaigns.
Don Fairbanks. I am a senior strategist with Paytronix. It is a pleasure to be here. I am a lifetime loyalty person, just like Denise. Been doing this most of the 2000s. Came over to Paytronix 2.5 years ago, joined the UDF team early this year, but love this program. They're doing so many things that are smart in terms of how they both structured the programs and how they're using their campaigns. So I'm going to talk about campaigns specifically today, and I'll layer that back to some of what Denise has talked about. But I want to start with a quote that I heard this morning on TikTok, of all places, that I kind of feel is really relevant and grounding the role of campaigns specifically, and especially in this program. So it's from someone named Jim Rohn, and it basically is: motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. And I make this distinction because really getting people into the program is powered by that 6-cent everyday discount. A lot of those people coming in, that's what's attracting them. That's what's opening the door to get them into loyalty. And like every other loyalty program, those benefits and the core rewards, they calm down after a while, and the impact they have. You know, Bed Bath & Beyond or a Gap, and that perpetual discount starts to lose some of its kick after a while. So you have to have those other elements, those campaigns that are coming in, that are connecting with consumers, that are engaging them, that are reinforcing those behaviors, and specifically those habits that we want them to be taking. To do that optimally, we have to make that personal. We have to do it in a one-to-one capacity. So as the program is set up, as Denise alluded to communicate and actively get their feedback back to them, this part of it is set up to operate in the background, but monitor the behavior of these registered users and the data that they produce every day when they're touching this, and using that to maximize the effectiveness of the program and to continue to keep them active and engaged. So I'm going to go through 3 of these one at a time, then Denise will come back, and they each align to one of the 3 pillars. But this one, again, is that personal approach, and it is looking at these individuals. And lapsed on fuel, block and tackling for most of us. They do it a little better, though, and they do it in such a way that we're looking at users who are active in both store and fuel historically, but in the last 60 days, for whatever reason, haven't had the fuel visits. Each month, we're going to hit each one of those individually with the simple, here's 10 cents off your next fill-up every gallon. Strong offer, no strings attached. And then we're going to hopefully drive a lot of them in. And this program's been up about 2 years, which is amazing to me, that you can have a campaign that iteratively runs like this, that continues to perform at such a high level. If they come in and they get that first 10 cents, we're not going to just let that go. Again, we want to reestablish the pump behavior. So we then offer them, about a week after that, a 2-visit challenge. So over the next 2 weeks, if you continue to come back just twice, you're going to get an additional 20-cent discount on this. It's been super effective. The results on this, if we look at against a control group, almost 30% lift in gallons, almost 18% lift in spend, and 6% increase in visits. These are monthly levels. So very effective, again, at bringing those people who maybe softened on the fuel prospects of things for whatever reasons, continue to go into store, getting them back into the pump rotation. Anything you want to add to that, Denise?
No, I think you covered that great. Thanks, Don. All right, so another tenet of the program is exclusivity. And this is kind of goes 2 ways. So in one sense, exclusive is meant to mean that, hopefully we're bringing value to the loyalty customers that they can't get outside of the loyalty program, but also that we're bringing it in an ownable and kind of proprietary way for our own brand. So it's exclusive for United Dairy Farmers compared to whoever else we're being compared to in the market. As we said, with the program, you never pay full price on gas again. You can get your welcome rewards for signing up at a very high value. And then there are some things inside the program too, just about how it functions and how we're able to serve information to people that I think is really cool, and it just kind of supports the idea of exclusivity and enabling people to be smart about what they're buying, what they're saving, how their savings are adding up, how they're able to take advantage of that at the pump, and take advantage of just kind of, seemingly random offers and things that we're doing out there all the time for them. You can see on the visual on the right-hand side, the Welcome to UDF screen. You're seeing there 2 price points. One is the 3 cents off per gallon, and then the market basket is that's actually telling the customer that they have $2.19 in their market basket currently, and that, once they add it up to a $25 amount, they'll be able to redeem a market basket reward, and that'll be showing in their wallet, and it'll be automatic whenever they put in their alt ID or use their account number or card at the pump the next time that they decide to fill up with us. And then this one-time use coupon here for a free regular-sized coffee or medium-sized fountain drink. In this case, that was a reward that we were giving to people for signing up for the program as well. We're not doing that currently, but at one time we were doing that. Show you a couple of other things. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold this week. So I'm not sure how easy this is to see on the screen or from your perspective, but if you look at the first screen or the first phone view here, we've scrolled to a slightly different position on the screen, and you can now see where somebody's looked up a store location. It's either the one right next to them or somehow they've done a search. It's showing that store location with an actual picture and the street address information, and then below it, it will show the price at the pump that's actually showing that day, the retail price, and then it'll show you the U-Drive price. So the first one listed here, and these are made-up numbers, who knows where these really came from, but the first one is the U-Drive price point of $4.42 per gallon, and then the one next to it is $4.52, I believe, if I'm reading that right. So the benefit to the customer there is they can always look at this and know exactly what they're going to pay, which I think is really cool. And I haven't seen anybody else do it quite this way and visualize it quite this way for the guest. And then in the screen to the right of it, you can see where we're displaying rewards again. So for fuel rewards, the current discount of 3 cents, that means they haven't stacked anything in addition to the daily 3 cents off that we give to people who are members. And you can use 3 cents off per gallon for up to $25 fill, and kind of cut it off there. And then the market basket, this is just another way to visualize how much somebody might have spent with us that are market basket qualifying dollars towards that market basket reward.
Thank you. Is what we call one-to-one win-back. And win-back, as it sounds, is how we continue to retain members who are lapsing. And to put this into context, we have these solutions from the beginning of the relationship through the lapsing portion of the relationship. We do it on a nurturing level. We have programs in the middle who are going to look at the behaviors of that consumer, the preferences in terms of store and pump, and dynamically caters to that person's usage. Win-back in that context really looks at their lifetime trends and cadence of visits, and it dynamically generates a score for each user that determines how likely they are to lapse. What is their probability of lapse? When they hit that 40 or 50% level, and this might be someone that comes in weekly who misses 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to send them an offer. And this is a lapsing offer that currently it's 10 cents off fuel. Hopefully get them back in again, get them back to where they're active in the brand and they're seeing value again. If they don't respond to that first offer and they continue to maybe not come into store, once they get to that 70 to 80% likely to have lapsed level, we know that there's a good chance that they may be leaving the family, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to step up that offer. We're going to potentially offer them either 15-cent fuel, or the current store version of that would be the shake. Now, we break this up at this level because we want these to be more targeted to that individual. Are they more merch-driven? Are they more fuel-driven? The evolution of this, and it speaks to how UDF approaches all of their programs, is we are constantly evaluating, tweaking, and evolving them to whatever the technology supports. So in this instance, the evolution of this is going to be best category. So if you have someone that's particularly driven by packaged bev or food, their offer is going to align to that. And it's going to be a high value, again, at that lapse level, because really we're about to lose it, is what it looks like. And we want to make sure we do everything we can that's targeted, again, to their individual preference, that's going to keep them in the program. So the way these work, and these results are pretty impressive when you consider these are people who have, through behavior, shown that they are starting to kind of wean off of you. Is they bring back at a, even a 20% redemption level back into the program. They are typically twice as likely to still be active 28 days past that redemption. So a full month later, they're back engaged and active again in the program. Their spend increases in that period post that redemption versus the control, and their lifetime value goes up almost double, as much as 6 months past. So we essentially are able to track who they were, how much they were worth from a lifetime value standpoint at the time of that redemption, then look at them 6 months later to make sure that they're still locked into the program. Another evolution of this is going to be that we're going to have another re-engagement layer that happens after that second redemption, again, to reestablish the habit. And again, it's a visit challenge, likely store-driven, but come in over the next 2 weeks, give us another 2 visits, and get X, and it'll be another pretty compelling offer. And that's it.
Yeah, Johnny,
On
this
to you.
one, I just wanted to add on the one-to-one win-back that, I'm glad that you mentioned that we're constantly refining. We did a lot of test and learn before we, even kind of landed on sort of a regular set of kinds of things that we would do. Eliminating, I guess, process of elimination is the first thing that we did. Some things that just didn't work were called away quickly, and this is a perfect example of one where the fact that we're able to offer something as unique and exclusive as malts and shakes as a treat is really cool, because it's a pretty high value item. I don't know if you guys have been looking, but the price of a milkshake these days, if it's made with real ice cream and it's a premium product like ours, you're talking $4 or something. And it's also the idea that you're giving somebody something that's kind of a guilty pleasure. They may not have sprung for it for themselves, but because you've offered it, now you've given them permission to treat themselves. And it's pretty compelling. Okay, so let's go on to unique. This is the last of our key tenets. And I think, they overlap a little bit, certainly. But the uniqueness factor for us, I think, has particularly been strong with our low price lock feature. So I covered it earlier, but just to kind of restate what that is, if you look at the right-hand side here, if you are a registered customer and you have our app, you will be notified when gas prices are going to go up. So I, literally 2 days ago on my phone lit up and I was notified that prices were going up in Cincinnati that day. I think I got it around, let's say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But because I'm a registered customer, I knew that, and I knew that I should stop at a station on the way home and fill up that day, because otherwise, if I waited another day, it was going to cost me more. This is one of the features that gets played back to us in customer research that people really love it. It's a little bit complicated to communicate it, but once people know what it is, they actually tell their friends about it. So it's actually got a viral aspect to it, and I think that makes it really unique as well. And then on the left-hand side there, it may be a little confusing because it says market basket, but what you're seeing there with the 50-cent gallon call out, 50 cents per gallon call out, is another one of our continuity programs, again leveraging ice cream. And for this one, it's a seasonal play that we do every summer. We call it 5 and Drive. For every 5 malts or shakes that you buy, you can earn 50 cents off per gallon in gasoline rewards, which is very high value. There's very few things like that out on the market that you will see. So again, a very unique way for us to incentivize, and because it's seasonal, we can start it and stop it whenever we want to. So we've got that flexibility to kind of use it as a lever in one of our most profitable and proprietary categories. So another one is our freebies, and Donnie's going to tell you about this one. This is my personal favorite.
So Wednesday freebies. This is an amazing program. Again, for a loyalty guy to come into this and see something that behaves and performs this way on such a sustained level. For a program that's as mature as this one, 11 years Plus in. And this portion of it was one time for all members, is now gated simply for registered members. And they actually had participation levels increased once they switched it over to being a gated feature. But what it does and what it introduces that's kind of unique to this program is a little excitement every Wednesday, no strings attached. And I'm big on no strings attached because too many programs are like, you buy this, you get this. And that's okay, but it doesn't really give you the warm hug that loyalty should give their best members on a regular basis. And this does this really effectively. It's a mix of a lot of products, both vendor funded and proprietary, so food products, drink products from UDF, but also, again, some of those outside products as well. And every Wednesday, it drops in your mailbox or it drops on your phone as a pull notification. The results of this, I think, really support the argument of how compelling this is. So being that this is largely app-based, it's driven 48% lift in app registrations. The average redemption rate seems modest, 4.1, but you're going out to the entire database of, again, those mobile app users, which is in the hundreds of thousands. Over the course of just the last year on this, we've had 27% of that base that have redeemed at least once. So, you know, compared to a lot of other programs that in any of the giveaways and the campaigns that you would do, you know, if you get into double digits on redemption, you're hitting your stride well. But things of this nature just really play into connecting users much more effectively on the emotional level that loyalty demands. You can give them value all day long on a transactional level. You can get outbid and lose that customer. If you have them, though, emotionally tied to you, it tends to be a much, much harder relationship to break. And things like this that they can look forward to, again, building that habit of coming in Wednesday and just kind of seeing what it is this week and whether or not it appeals to you, you still have that kind of that excitement around the program. And of the people that have participated in these, again, or have come in the app, 67 or over 60% of them have become active members in the program. So it's driving a lot of that organic activity in the program that keeps it healthy and drives those high metrics I'm going to share in a minute that are overall for the program. And that's it. Back to you, Denise.
Okay, so one of the things that we wanted to share today was a rebrand and kind of relaunch of UDrive. So we're going to take you back to spring of last year, 2022, and I'll kind of explain some things that we did to change the program and some results that we saw from that. So here you see represented what a storefront would have looked like at a UDF store in May of last year. So we were promoting Save All Summer only with UDrive Plus. We rebranded the program from UDrive to UDrive Plus, gave it a little bit of a zhuzh in terms of the graphics, you know, really bright and airy. And then we introduced some things that were special. So, you know, we had the 5 and Drive on sale for the summer, which is something we do all the time, but we timed it with this rebrand as well, just to make sure that there was something of high value that was really cool in the ice cream category that we could bring back. And then this was when we introduced member pricing for the very first time. So this collection of goods here at the bottom under Save All Summer is just a representative sample of some of the things that had special pricing for the summer, just for UDrive customers. And then Double the Savings was a vendor program that we'd had for a while. Basically, you know, a means for us to get vendor dollars from major CPG companies towards gas rewards offers, and those were all at 3 cents, and we doubled them for the summer as a way to relaunch and get people's attention and get people back in the stores. We're kind of still in the fog of the post-COVID or the coming out of COVID. We really needed to generate traffic. So double your savings was a good moniker to put with that. And then similarly, where saving 3 cents per gallon every day had always been a core benefit of the program, last summer we doubled that too. And we doubled it to save 6 cents per gallon all summer long only with UDrive Plus. So that kind of demonstrates the main things that we were doing. And we also put money behind it. So I don't know what everybody else's philosophy is about this. I know that at 7-Eleven, we didn't do a ton of advertising in the first couple of years for our loyalty program, but what we learned was if you could advertise very simplistic promotions that were rewards or combo deals or whatever they were that were available only to our 7NOW customers, that doing that and then also adding a loyalty program campaign during that same time, the two of them seem to reinforce each other. From a medium mix modeling perspective, we could see that gave a much bigger lift in results. So we don't have medium mix modeling at UDF. We don't have those kinds of fancy tools at my fingertips anymore, but I took that same philosophy forward. And so particularly for this rebrand and this relaunch, we did put a very integrated marketing campaign behind it. And we did television, streaming TV, regular cable, radio in our major radio metros, paid digital and social. We hired some influencers in Cincinnati and Columbus. And throughout the whole summer, regardless of what particular specific promotions we were promoting that might have been UDrive promotions, we always had a continuity amount of radio behind it that talked about the program overall and was basically a call to action for people to register and not leave money on the table by not taking advantage of gasoline rewards. We also did a contest for this relaunch, so that in the month of May, the last couple weeks, we had our store associates competing as a team within their stores with other stores to see who could get the biggest lift in penetration. So penetration, by definition, is what percent of your transactions you're getting at the cash register that are actually from a UDrive customer or a customer who's using a UDrive account in that transaction. It was a fun way to generate excitement with our associates and get them behind it and get them educated about the new terms of the program overall. So Donnie will take you through some of the results from all of this activity.
So yeah, I get the fun part of wrapping all this up and bringing the results to fruition. So the program has exceeded expectations, I think is putting it mildly. Since the relaunch, they're up to now 278,000 in registered active members and counting. The velocity of that has increased to 2 times what it was with the old program. So you're basically, again, an 11-year-old program that you've actually continued to build momentum behind this thing and grow it at a pretty rapid rate. The penetration rate of the 40 or so clients, the C-store clients that we manage, is among the highest, if not the highest. 37%, meaning simply that 37% of all transactions are on loyalty. So the maturity of the program kind of shows through there, where you have a deep base and they are actively using the program because they get value from it, both at the pump and in store, and it is very effective on that front. That $90 per month spend by a UDriver, those are registered member spends compared to the enrolled spenders, those that they don't have that first name and email address on and are not able to communicate it's as much as a 30% increase on the value of what they're spending each month. And lastly, is they have driven the bulk of their audience onto an app environment, which is much more impactful on, again, driving those behaviors dynamically, the ability to serve word or serve those communications through push to pull, and to engage them in those dynamic offers on a regular basis, to the point where you have 86% of that audience that are now on their mobile devices. And that's really it. It is a fantastic, healthy program that just continues to get better, and it's a lot of fun to work on. And yeah, back to you. Ryan, are you going to close this out, or are you, Denise?
Denise, I'm wondering if you can just, as we look at the next slide, wrap up what personal, exclusive, and unique means for UDF, and then I think we can turn it over to questions.
Okay, yeah, I think we might be running a little bit behind too. I'll just say that I think for UDF, it really reminds us to stay focused on the customer and the guest experience, and on the brand. You know, I think sometimes in the retail business in general, and certainly with loyalty, we can be very transaction focused, and we've got to remember that it's about people who want to have a good day, who want to have a good experience in interacting with your brand and your associates and your products. And for each individual retailer or company that has a loyalty program, really just think about what you have in your toolkit that's unique and proprietary, that your company and your brand can personify and blow it up, make that big and bold in your program so that you can stand out. And that's really basically the key to success, in my view.
Thanks so much, Denise. And Johnny, thank you. I'm looking forward to getting these questions started. So Melissa, from one moderator to another, I guess let's kick them off.
All right. Thank you much. Thank you very much, Ryan. And thank you, Denise and Johnny. It was a great presentation with a lot of information. We have a lot of questions that came in, but we've got about 10 minutes or so left in the webinar. So if we don't answer them, if we don't get to them all today, we will follow up after the presentation. So as we begin with today's Q&A, remember you can submit your questions using the Q&A function on the left side of the screen. And before we move on to the questions, we really want your feedback. So please fill out the evaluation survey that will automatically appear on your screen at the end of the event. So now let's move on to the questions. So first, how is your customer lifetime value calculated?
I think this is a me question. So one of my favorite parts of Paytronix is lifetime value is a tough thing to wrangle on any brand. In my previous life at Merkle and other places, always a tough answer. Paytronix has built out a proprietary algorithm that's AI-driven that basically looks at the user's history. So, and it's RFM based, so it's looking at their recency, frequency, and spend levels and what that cadence is. And it takes every bit of history that we have on that person and then projects it forward to what we would anticipate they're going to spend and visit over the next 10 years to infinity. It is a dynamic measure score that goes up and down as they visit, as they purchase, as they spend, and as their patterns continue to evolve. But it has proven to be super accurate to the tune of 5 points one way or the other in predicting what that person is going to spend, again, with their lifetime with the brand.
Okay, great.
Sorry.
We have another question. What is the percent of guests who are merchandise driven versus fuel driven? And I'm not really sure, Donnie, if that's for you or Denise.
I think we looked at that recently. It's fairly equal. Again, this program is so balanced in terms of the what it offers consumers in store and at pump, that there is a a huge audience on both sides of that equation, but we just introduced a purchase or a preference score that is just that, looking at which consumers prefer merch based on their behaviors versus fuel, and it is fairly balanced with this brand.
Okay. Now, when you're trying to get a lapsed user back, do you find more success getting them back with fuel discount or free products?
I'll answer this one as well. Fuel is, at this point, fuel outperforms merch offers probably 10x or thereabouts. It's just so much more impactful. It is almost a cash equivalent in consumers' mind, and it really does move the needle much more effectively. That being said, targeted merch offers for merch-driven consumers, it gets up there close to where we see with fuel as well, and it's probably more economical.
Okay. So what are the best practices when sourcing vendor promotions that are exclusive only to program users?
Let's see. How to think about this. So I think that there's two parts. So one is, what do the vendors care about? So, what can you do to get them engaged in a meaningful way and bring great value? And I think we've kind of been, massaging this over time. But if you can do the same thing year over year and you can plan it far out, it really helps the bigger CPG companies figure out how to distribute what they can afford to give you across everything that you're negotiating for in that year. If you wait until a new calendar year is about to start and they've already said, we're going to, give you X amount of dollars back in rebates and X amount of dollars back in, XYZ special pricing deals, and then you come back and say, oh, by the way, I need this and that and something other for program elements inside of my loyalty program, and oh, by the way, they have to be really unique and nobody else can have them, then, that's definitely not the way to go about it. So I would say give yourself a lot of lead time, give them a lot of lead time, and try to massage a period or a program over a period of time to where you're making it better and you're repeating a similar structure over time. That will help them do a better job and help you do a better job of getting dollars out of those vendors. In terms of exclusivity, if you can tie it to something else about your brand or something else about the language or nomenclature or sort of thematic of your loyalty program, make it seem unique, even if it may not literally be super different than what other chains are doing. So for instance, buy one, get one offers. Every retailer in the world does them. Every vendor partner supports them at one time or another. But if you can do one under a scenario where it's buy one, get one, and then it's attached to some other feature of your program that's well branded in a way that's proprietary, then that's the secret sauce in that case. So for us in that summer program where we were able to say double your savings on fuel rewards, we've been doing a 3 cents off on those 2 for products with those vendors for I think 3 years, and then we doubled it that 4th year. So it was proprietary because we already set a standard there that we could play around with and leverage to make it special.
Well, I can tell you that DGF's success is really garnering a lot of interest from our attendees on today's webcast. We're coming up almost on 3 o'clock mark. So I just want to ask real quick before we close up and follow up with everyone. If someone's interested in getting a quote for developing a loyalty program, who should they be contacting?
If anyone is looking to have those conversations, I get a downloadable report from this presentation And I specifically look through the questions after to refer anyone over to sales that might be looking to have a conversation or just get some consultative advice from our engineers. So please feel free to indicate that in the questions, and I'll make sure that someone reaches out to you after.
Okay, perfect. And as always, if you review this or you share it with a colleague and you want to reach Ryan or Donnie, you can reach out to me and I will try to make the connection for you. And it's Melissa Kress, mkress at ensembleiq.com. So as we come up on the hour, I want to thank everyone for attending today's webcast. United Dairy Farmers, how a nationally ranked loyalty program drives customers from pump to store, hosted by Convenience Store News and sponsored by Paytronix. I want to thank very much our guests, Denise Jenkins of United Dairy Farmers and Donnie Fairbanks and Ryan DeLillo of Paytronix. And I also want to thank you all for attending today. So have a great day.